afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now, live at 4 on this Thursday. Charlotte Deleste continues to fill in for Susan Simon, who continues to be on vacation.
Good for her.
Yeah, someplace.
The anchor rotation will pick up again.
Yes, eventually.
It always does.
Yes, it does. But then spring break is going to be around, and I think Eric's gone.
Oh, thinking spring.
Yeah, that's all you can do at this point.
It's a little bit chilly in here, isn't it?
And
outside as well.
I'm fine with it, but I have a lot of clothes on.
Yeah.
We'll get to the weather in a minute.
Layers.
Here's what's making news this Thursday. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers will deliver his budget message tonight, and Jessica Arp reports it's expected to contain some state policy changes.
The Madison school superintendent responds in no uncertain terms how she feels about racial issues in city schools. Madeline O'Neill will be here with that. And President Trump leaves the Hanoi summit with no deal in hand. That and a little later, some perspective from an East Asian expert coming up on Live at 4. Let's take a look outside. Not bad. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, we should say happy birthday to you. Oh, well. Even though your birthday is technically tomorrow. But it's the last day of February. Right, the last day of February. Right. How old are you? in your years? We got to get going, I'm told by the producer. We had to move along. Thank you. I thought you were going to be like 16 or something. No, more than that. In like a frozen lamb, the weather words. Dana Fulton is in the backyard patio. How are you?
I'm cold. I'm a frozen lamb out here right now. If you leave me out here for about 20 more minutes, you're going to have like a Dana popsicle. That's the only alternative. Outside, of course, it's a little chilly, but it's not too bad. As long as you're in the coat, you're bundled up, you'll be just fine. Looking at the ground, of course, we do have snowfall out right now. No snow falling from the sky, just snow on the ground. 20 degrees currently. With the wind chill, it does feel in the upper teens or close to 20. The breeze, not too much of a factor for us currently, so that's the good news. That's in Madison, 14 towards Janesville, 21 in Mineral Point right now, and about 20 in Platteville. Again, with that light breeze factored in, doesn't drop our wind chills too much compared to our temperatures. Looking at our Doppler track, we aren't expecting really any snowfall for us. We may see some flurries in Grant County, but that's about it. Just a slight chance for this evening. We won't really see any snow come in until tomorrow. We are going to have another round for your Friday, but we'll get to that in just a quick second. Right now, I do want to take a look at what's going on the roads, of course, for your Thursday evening commute. Overall, it should be pretty okay. Much of Dane County actually looks fine right now. On the Beltline, westbound looks okay. Eastbound, we are seeing a few spots where speeds are reduced just a little bit, a little more congestion, of course, with folks trying to hop onto the Beltline. In the northwest corner, no major delays around Prairie du Sac or up towards the Dells, and now down near Janesville, also looking pretty okay through Rock County. Jefferson County also looks fine right now. For your drive times, about 26 minutes from Janesville to the Beltline, from Middleton to Sauk City, about 16 minutes, 17 minutes from downtown to Sun Prairie northbound. And of course, from Verona to the Beltline, just 5 minutes, 7 minutes from Oregon to the Beltline. And Springfield to University Avenue, eastbound, just about 5 minutes. So everything's where it should be right now. The question is, of course, with everybody getting on the roads, what are our delays going to look like in about 20 minutes or so? So we'll take a closer look at traffic and your next snow chance in just a few minutes. All right, come in, you little frozen lamb. Okay. See you in a few minutes, Dana. First at 4, Governor Tony Evers is set to unveil his first state budget in just a few hours. That includes a number of issues that would directly affect you, including the gas tax, money for local schools, and much more. Chief Political Reporter Jessica Arp joining us live from the state capitol with what we know so far this afternoon. Jessica.
Well, yeah, we've learned a lot over the last few weeks about what Governor Evers plans to put in this first budget. We know education, as predicted, a former state superintendent, is a huge part of this budget, but there are a number of questions that we're hoping to get answered tonight. Here is what we know right now, though. Evers' budget will deliver on some of the campaign promises he made last year. He'll put $1.4 billion in funding toward public schools and plans to accept a federal expansion of Medicaid. He'll offer a 10% tax cut to middle-class families, will decriminalize some marijuana possession and legalize medical marijuana, spend some $28 million on issues aimed at improving the health of women and infants, and continue a tuition freeze at UW system schools. What we will be looking for tonight, though, is how he plans to pay for state roads and if he'll increase the gas tax to do it, whether he'll repeal any laws that were passed by Governor Walker and the Republican-controlled legislature like Act 10 or Right to Work, and ultimately how he will pay for all of these major priorities. Evers has called this the people's budget in both his State of the State address last month that you're looking at and in excerpts of the speech that he will give tonight that they released today. Those excerpts also say that Evers plans to allow undocumented immigrants to get ID cards in the state of Wisconsin, a measure that will certainly be controversial among the Republican-controlled legislature, who at one point proposed to not allow counties to offer those same ID cards. Democrats today were focused, though, on education.
This budget is going to help every single school district in the state. No school district is not going to benefit from this budget. Just the degree of resources that are invested from that 2/3 funding, that's huge. That is millions and millions and millions of dollars over this biennium.
Democrats today are touting Evers' investments in the budget in schools and specifically funding in the budget for special needs students. Now, Republicans have already been casting doubt on multiple parts of this budget and have even been threatening not to take up the budget that Evers will propose here to a joint session of the legislature tonight and instead work off of current law. We are expecting to hear much more from them in a planned news conference that will happen right after the budget address. The budget address expected to happen at 7 p.m. in the State Assembly chambers tonight, and we will, of course, bring you full coverage on this live. Myself and political reporter Rose Schmidt will both be here at the Capitol and providing coverage online and on TV tonight on News 3 now at 10.
Jessica Arp reporting for us this afternoon. Jess, thank you.
Former Green Bay Packers coach Mike McCarthy has apologized for his behavior at a high school basketball game. The incident happened Tuesday night at a game between Pulaski and Notre Dame Academy. McCarthy's stepson plays for Notre Dame, who lost by 1 point, ending the team's season. Now, in a video of the incident, McCarthy approaches a referee after the game. Here's the video. Quickly gets turned away. McCarthy reportedly called an official at Notre Dame Academy today to apologize.
Madison Metropolitan School District Superintendent is responding to recent reports of racism, including the incident at Whitehorse Middle School, in an open letter today. In the letter, Superintendent Cheatham lays out a few changes within the district. And our Madeline O'Neill is here to tell us about those plans, along with how community leaders are responding. Maddie?
Well, Superintendent Cheatham is promising today to work hard for racial justice and to get it right. In her letter, she calls the series of incidents involving teachers using racial slurs in the past school year indefensible, and writes that the Whitehorse Middle School incident, in which an acting principal is accused of pulling out an 11-year-old student's braids, especially horrific and absolutely unacceptable. She says the recent incidents have pushed the district to move faster on a number of changes, including a new system for reporting racist incidents and training every teacher on implicit bias and racial inequity.
We want to be part of the solution, right? We have taken on a commitment to be anti-racist, right? To be actively working against racism, right? Not just not racist, but actively anti-racist. That's what you sign up for when you become an educator.
Boys and Girls Club of Dane County CEO Michael Johnson applauds Cheatham for acknowledging racism in schools, but thinks the district should go further. For one, he'd like to see a 24/7 hotline to report racial incidents, along with non-biased parent ambassadors to work with families and staff members after those reports. We'll have more from Johnson coming up tonight at 6.
Madeline, thank you.
You're welcome.
President Trump is on his way back to Washington after his much-anticipated second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who ended with no deal. Members of Congress praised the president for walking away. Nicole Killian is at the White House with a look at the fallout from the president's trip and what could come next.
I'm on my way back from Vietnam.
President Trump spoke to U.S. troops in Alaska on his way home from Vietnam. His second meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un ended without a deal to denuclearize the communist nation.
They wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that.
But North Korea's foreign minister had a different take on the talks. He says North Korea asked for partial sanctions relief in exchange for the dismantling of their main nuclear facility in Yongbyon.
Our principle stance will remain invariable, and our proposal will never be changed.
The summit's outcome won the president rare praise from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
I'm glad that the president walked away from that.
But the president is also getting bipartisan criticism for saying he didn't believe Kim Jong-un was aware of the condition of American hostage Otto Warmbier before he was returned to the U.S. Warmbier was brain dead and died shortly after returning.
The attempt to sort of exonerate or excuse Kim Jong-un over the death of this young man, I thought, was just abysmal.
We know what happened to Otto. I support the president in his effort to denuclearize them, but I do not have a misbelief that who this leader is.
The president has indicated he wants to continue talks with North Korea, but he did not give a timetable on when they would resume. In Washington, Nicole Killian for News 3 Now.
And President Trump called the leaders of South Korea and Japan from Air Force One after leaving Vietnam to brief them on his talks with Kim Jong-un.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing to fight allegations of bribery and fraud stemming from 3 corruption cases. Israel's Attorney General announced plans this morning to indict Netanyahu on charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust, a first in the nation's history. Netanyahu denies any wrongdoing and calls the allegations a media-orchestrated witch hunt aimed at removing him from office. Members of his political party tried to stop the charges from being made public, but the Supreme Court rejected the request. Netanyahu, who's been in office since 2009, seeks to become the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history in that country's election in 6 weeks.
Historic flooding has left thousands of people trapped in parts of Northern California. The National Guard has been called in to rescue hundreds of people trapped in their homes. The Russian River topped 46 feet, sending floodwaters into 2 resort towns in Sonoma County. Officials evacuated a 25-mile stretch along the river. Residents say they haven't seen it this bad in nearly 2 decades.
Never have I seen it like this. It's scary.
We're not going to be rescuing people unless there's an imminent life safety threat. So people are just going to have to be patient.
With even more rain expected later this week, Sonoma County has urged the governor of California to declare a state of emergency.
We had our own share of record-setting flooding last summer, and FEMA came to help many of those affected. And now they're looking for a different group of applicants to join their ranks. They're taking applications for kids to join its Youth Preparedness Council. It will bring together young leaders who are interested in supporting disaster preparedness. They will meet with FEMA staff to give their input on the agency's projects. Those projects are put in motion year-round, not just when disasters strike.
We have a lot of events that happen in our region, a lot of flooding, winter weather, things that, happen every year. So we want to be able to build that resilience in local communities, and getting the youth involved is one of the best ways to do that.
Students in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grades are encouraged to apply. Applications are due by March 31st. There is a link to the application on our website, channel3000.com.
Well, still to come at 4, what's next in the relationship between the United States and North Korea?
There are a lot of unanswered questions after President Trump walked away from that summit today. We'll get some answers from an expert on the Far East from UW-Madison when Live at 4 continues.
An increasing number of people are getting killed simply walking down the street.
U.S. roads are becoming more dangerous for pedestrians. Preliminary data from a new report from the Governor's Highway Safety Association estimates more than 6,200 pedestrians were killed on U.S. roads in 2018, a 35% increase in 10 years. One reason for the increase is because people are walking more. Another factor, Americans are driving larger vehicles. Deaths involving SUVs have increased 50% since 2013.
Most pedestrian crashes are taking place on local roads. They're happening at night. They're happening away from intersections.
Many modern streets are wide with longer blocks, and people tend to run across where they shouldn't. Advocates would like to see more crosswalks and better lighting to make roads safer.
Trade concerns continue to take a toll on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials lost 69 points, ending the day at 25,916. The NASDAQ Composite Index fell nearly 22, and the S&P 500 was off 7. Well, President Trump said before leaving Hanoi this morning that the talks in the second Trump-Kim summit broke down because Kim insisted that all U.S. sanctions be lifted without the North committing to eliminating its nuclear arsenal.
But North Korea's foreign minister said the North demanded only partial sanctions relief in exchange for shutting down its main nuclear complex. Where does this leave relations between the two countries now?
We welcome David Fields. He is the Associate Director of the UW-Madison Center for East Asian Studies. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
For being with us today. Do you think President Trump did the right thing by walking?
I think he did in this situation. I think up until President Trump, every single U.S. president has understood that North Korean nuclear weapons are not just a bilateral issue between North Korea and the United States. They're, in fact, a threat to the entire international community. And so they have approached North Korea in a multilateral fashion. What President Trump did for the last year is he has gone off that script, and he has made this a contest just between the United States and North Korea. And this is very dangerous because there's no obvious solution to this problem. And it's going to take a very, very long time before any resolution is possible. So you need to keep your allies together. You need to be all on the same page. And so what I hope the president does now that he has walked away from this bilateral approach is, again, join a multilateral approach with North Korea's neighbors and with the broader international community to try to tackle this issue.
Is it even possible to negotiate with Kim?
As far as complete verifiable denuclearization, I do not think so. I don't think that there is a possibility that they will negotiate those weapons because these weapons check a lot of boxes for the North Koreans. It's not just about defense. Sure, having nuclear weapons would be very useful in deterring an American invasion of North Korea or anyone else wanting to invade North Korea. But these weapons are also very useful if the North would decide to make good on its pledges to reunite the Korean Peninsula by force, which has been a stated propaganda aim of the regime since the 1940s. Now, how serious they are about that at this moment, if that would even be possible, is really an open question. But if they would ever want to go that route, certainly having nuclear weapons would be very useful for that. And then finally, nuclear weapons is one of the few accomplishments that the Kim regime can point to. Especially in the last 40 years, their country's situation economically, politically, in every sense has gone down the tubes. And nuclear weapons is the one concrete thing that they can point to that they have done. And so I don't know what anyone could offer them that could check all of those boxes.
You've been to North Korea. Is it a different world from other countries we know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been to a lot of poor places. I've been through Central America, been through places in the Caribbean. And what's so different about North Korea is the poverty in North Korea is surrounded by the trappings of a formerly wealthy society. So in the 1960s and 70s, North Korea was actually wealthier than South Korea. And so what you see when you go around North Korea is you see a country that used to be living much better than it was. You see modern apartment complexes without any windows in them, without any heat. You see roads that have gone completely to disrepair. And what it's a sign of is that this country has been completely destroyed and completely impoverished by the decisions of just a few people at the very top. And it's very tragic. And it's not like a lot of other places that you go to.
And do the people that live there realize that?
Though they realize that they live in poverty, why they live in poverty, the regime tells them that they live in these types of situations because especially nefarious foreigners, are engaging in these plots to try to destroy the North Korean state. So they're starving them with sanctions, they're threatening them with weapons, and it's only the visionary leadership of the Kim regime that keeps the state intact and that keeps it safe from outside forces. Now, do all North Koreans believe that? It's really, really hard to say. But if they don't believe that, it's unclear what they would believe in, because there's not any counter-narrative that regularly permeates the country.
Interesting stuff.
David Fields, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Yeah, the Take a look at this. 8 hungry residents from Krakow, Poland took part in a donut speed eating contest as part of the so-called Fat Thursday celebrations. Fat Thursday is the traditional Christian feast before Lent in Poland.
Stopping.
It's similar to Shrove Tuesday or Mardi Gras in other countries. The eating contest was won by 5-time winner Jerzy Zalewski, who managed to eat 8 donuts in the allotted 5 minutes. However, he fell...
Is that him? Oh, my God.
What? Okay, so he's the only one eating fast, though.
Yeah.
Well, his old record was 13 donuts, but he said he's slowing down in his age, but he still has a sweet tooth. They're not that big.
No, they're not. I
thought there was those big filled deals.
No, I mean, they barely take up one of their hands. They're little.
I think we could do better.
Apparently, we're not impressed.
Yes. We can do 5 minutes. That's the next segment. I don't need to do weather.
Bring on the donuts.
We're just going to do a donut contest.
No props. No props.
We'll do it for Fat Tuesday.
Okay.
All right.
Goals.
All right. The end of February.
Yes, we made it. Finally, we're going to take a look at the February that was and the March that is ahead right after the break. The last day of February, though, the shortest month. I know a few people have made it feel like or think that it might have been the longest month, just because look at our totals or our little wrap up here for what we experienced for the month. 23 of the 28 days we saw at least a trace of rain or snowfall, only reaching a high temperature of 45 for the month. Our lowest temp, though, 6 below. And we picked up about 22.5 inches of snow. So that's the 5th snowiest February on record. Of course, that end of snowfall that we had in the last few weeks, bumping us over what we should be for our season average. We're already there at the end of February, and we still, of course, have a few more months that we could see a little more snowfall before we get a complete break and leave winter behind. Downtown right now, not too bad outside. Again, we do have the slight chance for some flurries to the southwest corner over the next few hours, but not really much of a chance for us this evening. We'll hold off until tomorrow afternoon for a better opportunity for some snow to come on through. Overall, expecting a pretty quiet night for us. High pressure ridging through the northern Midwest. Our next system well off to the west. It'll be sliding through, as I mentioned, by tomorrow afternoon and evening. Could see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of snowfall with that event coming through tomorrow. So overnight, we're going to fall to the single digits by Friday morning. It'll become mostly cloudy throughout the morning on Friday, and then light flurries expected early in the afternoon for the western areas. And then by your drive home, we'll likely have some light flurries and snowfall for the southwest corner of Wisconsin. Notice towards Milwaukee, they'll start to see that snow come through later on in the evening. By early Saturday morning, though, the snow is out of here throughout the day. On Saturday, we're actually expecting a partly sunny sky. Saturday and Sunday won't look too bad outside. It'll just feel a little colder. And that's snowfall for the entire state, not just for central and southern Wisconsin. We'll see it all the way up to the northern edge. By Saturday morning, again, a partly sunny sky, clouds building back in, though, later on overnight, and then we will have a sunny sky again for our Sunday. It's just going to be a little cold, though. Notice that breeze coming from the northwest. Temperatures for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are going to start very cold and not climb much even as we get into the afternoon. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches expected for us in southern Wisconsin. Notice up to towards La Crosse and Eau Claire, we might see just a little more snow, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. It's really trending towards the northwest corner of the state right now. So we'll see lesser amounts for us here, but still expecting to pick up a little bit of snowfall tomorrow. Heading into Sunday morning, though, as I mentioned, as the snow clears out, it gets cold and it starts to feel cold outside. Our wind chills for Sunday morning will be in the teens below zero throughout the day. It's still going to stay below zero with our wind chills. By Monday morning, though, it'll be about 30 below for what it feels like. And for Tuesday morning, also expecting a very chilly start to the day, 21 below, right around 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. So because of those wind chills being so cold outside, we do have alert days in the forecast for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Notice we may also be breaking our record low temperatures or our record low high temperatures for each of those days. So we'll be keeping a close eye on our temps. And it's Monday morning, our lows will be near 10 below, but those wind chills up to 30 below. So very cold start to next week, our first week of March. Overnight, we're planning on 6 for our low temperature. A very cold night for us. For tomorrow, though, we will be in the upper 20s. Just a degree or two warmer than today, but still a little cold, but not as cold. Late snow expected in the afternoon and evening. Over the next few days, for Friday and Saturday, we'll be in the 20s. Starting next week, though, with a very cold spell with those alert days in place because of the wind chill threat. And then looking ahead to the end of next week, we'll steadily start to climb away from the single digits, become just a little better outside for us by next weekend. That's a quick look at your forecast.
All right, get through this coming weekend. Speaking of which, it is the weekend in the 608.
And here with a look at what's going on in the area is WISC contributor Emmy Fink.
Happy Thursday.
Happy end of February.
And happy early birthday.
Thank you.
We asked if we could sing to him.
No.
He was adamant. No.
So let's move along. There's some theater this weekend.
There is some theater. The Overture has The King and I, if you want that as an option. Roger and Hammerstein's musical comes to Overture this weekend. This one's going to bring audiences back to 1860s Bangkok. The touring production includes all the familiar songs. Mark knows them.
You?
Charlotte knows them.
Right there.
Getting to Know You. I Whistle a Happy Tune.
And Something Wonderful.
And how do they go? Come on, give me a little bit.
We're listening to it. We're listening to it right now. You can't hear it. We got to move along. Boy, the producers push you today.
Yeah, I just am missing everything. The shows run tonight through Thursday night.
Okay. And
I'm sorry, tonight's Thursday night.
Monday
night. Tonight through Sunday night.
Okay. Easy to fall in love with music.
Yes.
Oh, I fell in love with this musician about 10 years ago. Saturday night, the Sylvie welcomes a favorite of mine, Mr. Ben Rector, Nashville-based pop singer-songwriter. Ben's, I'm on a first-name basis with him, 2015 brand new album landed in the top 10 Billboard charts. He released his 7th album called Magic in June, and Josie Dunn opens for him. The show starts at 8 o'clock. I'm just a little excited.
Yeah, I can tell.
Date night.
All right, so politics and humor combined in this one.
Yeah, you know, if you like those two and you can actually combine those two, then you should head to the Orpheum on Saturday night for a live taping of the weekly political comedy podcast, Love It or Leave It, hosted by John Lovett, a comedy writer and the former speechwriter for President Barack Obama. So him and his panelists will discuss current events, and they will do it with plenty of wit and humor, and that's Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
And we have a perfect family activity.
So if you have a little Ross Geller in your family, anybody who watches Friends will get this, the big paleontologist. Well, you can bring your budding paleontologist to the 4th annual Dino Day, taking place all day Saturday at the Madison Children's Museum. So this is for kids 5 and older. They're going to be able to dig for fossils, measure a dinosaur, do some dino yoga. I'm guessing like instead of down dog, down dino.
There you go.
Exactly, makes sense. And then there's activities for kids younger than 5, of course, as well, if you have some younger siblings, and that takes place Saturday 10 until 5. Something different.
So what if Sunday's your free day?
Then you need to go to a little family hoedown. How does that sound? With the Little Miss Ann Band. The High Noon Saloon has that on Sunday at 11. Ann Toralba, a.k.a. Little Miss Ann, she's an Old Town School of Folk music instructor and also a former Chicago public school teacher. She has seen it all, and now she is an award-winning musician with 5 albums of kids' music. Yeah. I know. And, you know, what else are you going to do in the winter? Get your kids to dance and burn off some energy.
Family hoedown.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Go dig for dinosaurs and then go to a hoedown.
I love it. I love it. Happy Thursday.
Thanks, Emmy. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, guys.
And get this month's Madison Magazine for all the best in the Madison area. Well, still to come at 4 today is Rare Disease Day.
It is a day to honor people whose disease doesn't have a fun run, walk, or a telethon.
30 million Americans have a rare disease in the U.S. I'm Dr. Malika Marshall with One Family Story.
Look at downtown Platteville. Sun shining on this February 28th. Today is the last day of February, and each year marks Rare Disease Day.
It is estimated that 30 million Americans have a rare disease, so scientists and families want to raise awareness. Dr. Malika Marshall has one family's story.
I want to pick that red one right there.
Joey Tanella is a typical 8-year-old boy having fun with his parents and sister.
I like to do homework, eat lunch, and snack.
He's among the millions of people in the U.S. living with a rare disease diagnosed at just 2 days old.
The doctor called me and they said we have to immediately bring Joey to the hospital. We had to immediately stop feeding him. During those days, his organs were failing. Essentially, his liver was failing.
Joey has galactosemia, which occurs in about 1 in 50,000 births. The rare genetic metabolic disorder is life-threatening because it affects the body's ability to process a sugar called galactose. The only treatment is to avoid foods that contain galactose or lactose found in all dairy products.
We believe that most of the babies that are not recognized in the newborn period don't survive.
All babies in the U.S. are now screened for galactosemia, but Dr. Jared Berry at Boston Children's Hospital says even with early diagnosis and a restricted diet, patients can still suffer speech and motor skill delays and learning problems.
The goal of all of our research now is to try to understand what causes this and how we can improve the lives of these patients.
There are about 7,000 rare diseases in the U.S., and many of them, like galactosemia, have no FDA-approved treatments. That's something that researchers and families are hoping will change with more awareness and funding.
He does have developmental delays associated, primarily being speech.
The Tanellas say Joey's rare disease is just a part of who he is.
Joey is a hard worker. He loves running. He's very athletic. He doesn't give up, and I think he actually made both of us better people.
We want him to have the best possible life that he can, and he's having that right now.
They hope sharing their story will help other families with rare diseases feel less alone. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Boston.
A disease is considered rare in the U.S. if it affects fewer than 200,000 people.
Well, there's more to come at 4. Up next, we'll hit the road with Harvey Briggs.
We'll find out what he thinks of the 2019 Mini Countryman as we go behind the wheel when Live at 4 continues.
So we're looking at the Beltline right now, right at Park Street. Of course, a few brake lights, it seems, on the eastbound side. Westbound, though, moving along just a little better than the eastbound side. That's per usual, though. Again, a little closer look there. Eastbound, speed starting to get reduced at a few different spots right before 151. Seeing it down to about 32 miles per hour. And even after that, still at 33. But the closer you get towards the bend to Middleton, speeds up to about 57. Up towards Prairie du Sac, all the way through the Dells. Things look okay on 90, also down to through Lone Rock and through Ridgeland. Overall, Janesville and Jefferson look just fine. Fort Atkinson also looking okay. No major accidents to report, just seeing a few delays, again, in the usual spots. From Janesville to the Beltline will take you just about 26 minutes. Sauk City to Middleton, 18 minutes. Same goes for southbound Sun Prairie to downtown, just an 18-minute drive. And then from Verona to the Beltline northbound, that'll be about 6 minutes, so a little slower than usual. From Oregon to the Beltline, 8 minutes and only 4 minutes eastbound on Springfield to University Avenue. That's a quick look at your traffic.
Thank you, Dana. Well, something tells us nobody heard a word. CBS News correspondent Ed O'Keefe said while covering the Michael Cohen testimony on Capitol Hill yesterday, he was pizza bombed by a staffer back there. Look at that, enjoying a pizza lunch behind him. And then he realizes, oh, oops.
Oh, I'm on TV.
Oh, yep, yeah.
Gotta eat.
Wow, look at that. He's just going right at that.
He is.
Small crossover vehicles are everywhere these days, and most perform the duties expected of them.
But how many go above and beyond, and with some personality thrown in? Harvey Briggs found one, and we find out more as we go behind the wheel in well, we'll let Harvey handle the introduction. So what have we here?
We have the 2019 Mini Countryman All-4 PHEV John Cooper Works edition.
Well, Harvey, thanks for coming in. We're out of time. That's a title.
Yeah, the longest car name probably in the history of Mini Coopers.
That's a max name for a Mini, but this particular Countryman has a lot to offer, including an electrical outlet.
It's a plug-in hybrid, so it gets up to 65 miles per gallon EMPG, and you can recharge the thing overnight in a typical 110 outlet.
So how far can you go just on electricity?
Just on electricity, about 25 miles. Cold weather like this, it's going to be less.
So it's not an electric car?
No, but it does qualify for an electric vehicle tax credit of up to $4,000.
Inside, the back seat room isn't great, but it will hold a growing family.
Mini specifically built this car because they had people growing out of the franchise, and they wanted to create a bigger car that people could move up to.
So this is an SUV?
Yes, it rides a little higher.
A mini?
A mini SUV. And with surprisingly decent luggage space back here.
BMW owns the Mini brand, and there are a lot of BMW components in the Countryman, including the 1.5-liter twin-turbo engine mated to the electric motor. And this top-of-the-line model with John Cooper trim, special wheels and tires, matches BMW pricing.
We're all the way up to $45,000.
$45,000?
For a Mini.
Well, half of that's the title.
That's right. If you're going to give it a name that long, you got to charge for it.
But for Mini lovers, and they are a devoted bunch, there's nothing on the road quite like them, even in the snow.
And it has been really good on the freeway, very sure-footed. I like these smaller cars in this kind of weather because I feel like I have a lot of control.
This is all very Mini.
Yes, it's fun, it's quirky, it has a lot of personality, and that's really the formula for Mini. So they have the 2-door hardtop, the 4-door hardtop, the convertible, the Clubman, which is more of a station wagon, and this Countryman, which is their SUV.
This is the biggest you can get a Mini.
Yes, this is Mini to the max.
The light ring here.
Yes.
Everything's so cute.
Exactly, and that's what Mini's all about. All these fun little touches. Everything's a little wonky, and, you know, it's not a normal car. It's different and fun.
And that's the point.
Yes, exactly. You don't buy a Mini if you want to be like everyone else.
And Harvey is here. Now, that was fun.
It is fun.
45 grand, and we still didn't have everything.
No, there are a few other options you could get on that, like a head-up display. It didn't have the satellite radio on it, although it was packaged in there. It just wasn't activated. So, yeah, you can go maybe closer to 50 on that car, but
And you did okay with the leg room.
Oh, yeah. The front passenger room in Minis has always been really good. Even in the original Mini, which I drove a 1965 version of a few weeks ago at an event, and the car didn't come up to my waist and I could sit in it.
You're a big, he does a trip every summer, these Mini caravans?
Yeah, Mini takes the states. It's every 2 years. Mini owners drive from one side of the country to the other over a route that Mini sets up for them. And I've been on this a couple of times, and it's really fun to see how people customize their cars and the whole community that builds up around Mini Coopers.
It's a cult.
Yes, the cult of Mini.
A Mini cult.
How about that?
It is a good one. Ridesanddrives.com is Harvey's website. You go there for more information. And next time we go in another Mini of sorts.
A smaller crossover again, the Lexus UX. Urban Explorer.
The UX.
Should be UE.
Yes,
Express.
It's the modern way.
Harvey, thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time. We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Did she say finally gets warm?
Ish. Yeah. I mean,
forgot the ish part.
We've got to go a solid, I don't know, 8 to 10 days before he gets.
But look, the sun's still up.
Look at this. Yeah, a beautiful view of our sunset from the WISC Skycam right now. Should have some really nice colors with the sunset. Now, right now it's about 20 degrees outside. Thankfully, there's not a huge wind chill to factor in. It's going to be light and variable tonight, pretty calm. So our wind chill right now is right at 20. That's the good news. Now, there is a slight chance for some flurries towards the southwest corner just in the next few hours. Not expecting any accumulation, nor is that anything widespread. However, as we do look ahead to tomorrow afternoon, we are going to have some flurries and light snow coming in for us Friday into Friday night, and that could bring anywhere from 1 to 3 inches for us in southern Wisconsin.
Just enough to make it slippery.
Yes, yes.
But done by Saturday morning.
Correct. It'll be out of here really before midnight is what we're expecting right now.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, just nighttime, afternoon.
Just a little more.
Yeah.
Freshen it up.
Just a little bit.
Thanks, Dana.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, our Michael Bruno goes backstage for Overture's production of the Broadway musical The King and I.
And our K9 correspondents, Lola and Louie, have all the top animal stories in the News Hounds Now update.
In today's Final Touch.